So this is a further demonstration of Super Mario 64 running in high definition on the original PlayStation 2 hardware. So I've just rebooted the console and let it start. So to really get on my TV, excuse the janky setup, this is just the only real way I can get it to record. So if I go to my games library, we have Super Mario 64 here in HD.
Hello!
Here it is. So the God our screen is a little bit laggy, but the other portions of the game are not. So let's go. This is my save. So I actually did complete the game on this. I completed it in like a 16-star, just a quick run. I guess I just did the backwards long jump stuff. But I just did that as a way to prove whether or not it could be completed. As you can see, it looks pretty good. So textures are obviously lower resolution because of this is the original game really, it's not a modded version of it, it's just rendering in a high definition. And yeah, so hopefully this gives a better representation than it does on my phone camera. I'm not very good at this game actually, so I'm just sort of walking on shore. Go to this. Oh, shit. And if you can kind of see that when we are on the, like when we've got some particle effects and stuff, you can kind of see the dithering that I was trying to explain in the last video. That's harder to explain, I guess, in the... Okay. So you can kind of see the dithering, and so, yeah, it's not because it's 16 colour, but actually 16-bit colour. So I think the PlayStation 2 could output in 32-bit colour, or 16-bit colour. And the reason that it can't do higher than 16-bit colour for 1080i HD is because the frame buffer needs to fit within the VRAM of the console in order to be output. And this console only had 4 megabytes of VRAM, and so 16 bits times, but it's about 2 megabytes that it uses for 1080i. And then if we also switch to 1080 720p, that uses about 3.5 megabytes for the frame buffer. So 1080i uses less because each frame is actually only 540 high, and then because it's interlaced and displayed outputted at each sort of frame, you don't actually see that. And so we're not, for 720 you're outputting at, oh sorry, this is now switching, so this is the resolution switch by the way. So if we now play in the original intended resolution, so this is 480i, this is what the output would have looked like on a PS2 if this is what this console was, this is what the game was like sort of ported to back in the day. So I was going to say that 720p doesn't really give you any benefit for this game because this isn't using the 60 FPS patch. I don't actually know if it would run at 60 FPS with such a high resolution. I don't know if the PS2 can even run the game logic that quick enough to do that. But so when you're outputting in 1080i, each interlaced frame actually is the same. It's the same frame essentially repeated, so you don't see any of the like interlacing effects because the frame isn't moving in between the two, or the image isn't moving between the two interlaces. So yeah, you can actually see for 480, this is 480i, so you can actually kind of see the interlacing a little bit because we're recording in progressive scan. But yeah, so if I now switch back to 1080i, well actually I'll do 720p first. So this is 720p. So as you can see, it's not any hugely different. But to 1080i, the aliasing is a little bit more, but you can see it's a lot better than the 480i picture. And then if we switch to 1080i again, okay, so anyway, as you can see, yeah, 1080i is a lot smoother. You can see Mario's like silhouette is just completely. I mean, if you look from a distance, you literally wouldn't even see the aliasing. So let's just go. Let's go in here and see if I can. Oh no, I'm not going to do that. Let's go to a world that I'm so familiar with. So the branch for this is open. It's not been merged yet because I think the maintainer wants to try out on his hardware first. Yeah, so I built this resolution. I built this resolution selector so that what it does is it actually saves the resolution that you've previously selected on the game. So when you launch, you don't have to like select the resolution every time. And yeah, I made it like that, so you don't have to like compile the game in specific resolution. Because I guess if someone wants to distribute this, and they don't need to like distribute a specific type of resolution for their game. And yeah, so here it is. Here's one more I can actually get the star. So yeah, I'm glad the last video got so much traction, but a lot of people were a bit skeptical of what it actually looked like on the PlayStation, and I think I'm hopefully demonstrating that it really is just really does show the capability of what this console actually had in it. And I think at the time developers had wanted to target like high definition for their games. They probably could have done. I think this game is, obviously relatively low performance requirements, but there's still a bunch of polygons being shown, and there's probably other games that are probably showing a similar amount of polygons. So there's not really much like reason. Yeah, I mean, obviously this one, I suppose it also helps that this game, the textures are so low detail that like you can also fit them in the VRAM as well as the frame buffer, because I think that's probably the limiting factor here, that we're just lucky that there's less than 500 kilobytes of textures, and so you've been playing at 720p where you've got only half a megabyte of half a megabyte of VRAM to store the textures in after the frame buffer and the Z buffer. So that's actually why I didn't explain earlier. The reason why it's 2 for the 1080i is that you've got the Z buffer and the like full frame buffer, and that's why for 720p it stores more, because let's do this. Oops. So the only thing that I've not managed to fix with this port is that, as you can see, the text kind of goes outside of the box area, and that's just because previously it's using like a scissor effect to do this, which isn't actually possible with the high-res output of the graphics library that it's using. So it's not really noticeable. It's like the only bit of the game which I think uses scissor like that, or uses this sort of effect. Okay, so I think that's it. I mean, yeah, thanks so much for all the attention on the last video. I want more people to play this version of the game. I want more games to be sort of ported to the PlayStation 2 and actually, played in high definition like this. This console should be timeless, and yeah, there's no, I think that the next thing I kind of want to try and target is the, so Mario Kart 64 is currently, there's a port of it that plays on the Dreamcast, and that may be possible to port to the PlayStation 2, because I think it's already, most of the work's been done for the port already, so it may, it shares very similar rendering code to Super Mario 64, so I can, see it as being possible. And then if that is, if it's possible to port, then it's also possible to play in, it's also possible to play in high definition, I think. And that would be great. Mario Kart on the PlayStation 2 in high definition will be like next. Yeah, next big thing. To show it really is a real PlayStation 2, here we go again. There we go, back to standard definition. Thanks for watching.